Few people will have the courage to admit this, but let me say it right away. Being good can feel like a loss. Yes, you listened that right. Who hasn't heard that poisonous phrase, "Nice guys finish last"? That's what most people believe, and that's exactly where the trap lies. The world wants you to think that helping without expecting anything in return is foolish, when in reality, it's the most powerful strategy for transformation. If I told you that a truck driver drowning in debt, on the verge of losing everything, chose to help someone on the road and because of that, had his life completely rewritten, would you believe it? Many would scoff. After all, the common logic is this: work hard, don't get distracted, and maybe someday things will work out. But what if I showed you that the real reward might come when you do what no one expects? What you're about to discover can flip your worldview upside down. We'll talk about choices, about courage, and most importantly, about things money can't buy. But that can open doors you never imagined. And make no mistake, this isn't just a moving story, it's also a practical guide to how kindness always returns. Sometimes doubled, sometimes multiplied. John, a seasoned trucker from countless long hauls, no longer carried just the weight of cargo, but the burden of a heavy life. That rainy night, barely seeing through the windshield, he spotted a stranded family on the shoulder. He knew stopping could cost him delays, his boss's anger, even his job. Yet he couldn't resist the pull to help. Some decisions don't fit in your wallet, they overflow from the soul. Without hesitation, John stepped in and refused the money they offered in return. For him, not everything is measured in cash. Some values can only be felt in the heart. Anyone who's ever paid for a stranger's coffee, or offered a ride expecting nothing, knows exactly what that feels like. It's as if the universe quietly keeps score. That act will not be forgotten. That night, John chose to write his own story of kindness. And here's the most curious part. John didn't realize that by stopping, he was planting something much greater. In the middle of puddles and piercing cold, he couldn't imagine that this simple choice would spark a profound transformation. The trembling child in the back seat would soon mirror the deepest pain he carried in his own home. As he helped that family, John couldn't avoid the flash of memories. The shivering little girl reminded him of his own daughter, Anna, waiting at home for medicine he couldn't afford. His heart twisted as if hope itself had been tied in a knot. Life has that strange way of holding up a mirror, showing us what we try to ignore. John knew every minute spent meant less money at month's end. Even so, he didn't hesitate. By refusing payment, he carried not just the weight of cargo, but the weight of sacrifice. How many times have we made choices that cost us dearly? Sometimes it's saying no to extra work to spend time with family. Other times, it's giving up something we want to help someone else. Invisible choices that shape who we are. On the way home, the trucker's eyes betrayed his guilt. He carried less in his pocket than needed, and the crushing sense of failing his daughter. The hum of the engine mixed with a lump in his throat, as if fate whispered that doing right doesn't always bring an immediate return. Little did he know that this ache would soon turn into something far greater. The following days tested John's endurance. Rent piled up unpaid, the gas tank was empty, and the pantry nearly bare. Meanwhile, Anna's health worsened by the week. It was as if life itself pressed down on him harder than any bill could record. Anyone who's faced a child's illness without resources knows there's no heavier prison. Even amidst chaos, John pushed on. He drove endless hours, often overnight, just to try to balance the bills. His body begged for rest, but his mind replayed the stack of debts waiting on the kitchen table. He knew he couldn't stop. Stopping meant losing everything. Isn't this the reality of so many today? working endlessly, afraid that if they pause, the ground will give way. The cruelest part was the feeling of helplessness with every delivery. The money was never enough, and the sense of racing against time only grew. It felt like the harder he fought, the deeper he sank. But it's often in the bottom of the pit where the seeds of change are planted. John didn't know it, but despair itself was paving the way for an incredible turnaround. Two weeks later, John was summoned to the company office with dread in his chest. He thought he was about to be fired for delays, already rehearsing his apology. To his shock, sitting there was the same man he had helped that stormy night. It was Dr. Richard, now not just a grateful stranger, but the new owner of the company. Life, with its irony, had prepared a surprise that left John speechless. Richard looked him in the eye and confessed he hadn't forgotten that act of generosity. He said that in times when most help only for reward, finding someone who gave selflessly was a rare treasure. That's why he decided to appoint John as fleet supervisor, offering a salary of $8,000, full health insurance, and, to erase past injustices, reimbursed more than $50,000 that had been unfairly deducted. Imagine, in a single moment, what seemed impossible became reality. And it was then that John understood no seed of kindness is ever wasted. That gesture, done without calculation, had blossomed into an abundant harvest. The trucker who once worried about paying for gas could now breathe, finally able to care for his daughter with dignity. Yet, as in every good story, something even bigger was waiting to unfold. In that life-changing meeting, Richard revealed his own daughter had diabetes. That night, when he saw John stop to help without expecting anything, he felt a deep impact. He knew the fear of watching a child's fragile health, and he recognized in John the heart of a father who understood that pain. That invisible bond between their families turned a simple act into a life-altering connection. With the new salary and health care, Anna finally received proper treatment. Her smile, once dimmed by illness, reignited hope at home. It was as if life had returned not just stability, but the joy of seeing her play freely again. The family, once hanging by a thread of despair, now breathed like survivors pulled from deep waters. 3 years later, John wasn't just a trucker surviving paycheck to paycheck. He had become a regional manager, leading with the same philosophy that guided him that stormy night: always stop to help those in need. His example spread among colleagues, inspiring others to follow suit. Little did he know that the harvest of kindness still had more lessons to reveal. The video ends with an unsettling truth. Kindness always returns, but never in the way we expect. Sometimes it's not money, but the smile of someone you helped. Other times, life prepares something almost unbelievable, as it did for John. And that's the point. When we act without expecting reward, we allow life to surprise us in transformative ways. How many times have you hesitated to do the right thing, thinking, "What's in it for me?" That's the trap. The real gain isn't the kind you keep in your wallet, but the kind that shapes your story. It's like planting a tree without knowing if you'll sit under its shade, but being sure someone will, someday. John discovered this, and it changed everything. And the lingering question remains: how many chances to change lives have we missed because of fear, haste, or selfishness? The answer might sting, but it can also inspire. Because if one simple choice could rewrite the destiny of a trucker and his daughter, what can you do today that will change your own tomorrow? Now tell me, how many times have you passed someone in need and thought, "I don't have time," or "It's not my problem"? Maybe that was your chance to change not just their life, but your own. What would you do if you knew a simple gesture could unlock doors that today feel permanently closed? John's story shows that kindness isn't just a nice theory, it's a real-life practice. And you, are you ready to apply it? Start small. a favor without expecting anything back, an encouraging word at the right moment, even a sincere smile for someone at rock bottom. What feels small can become the turning point you've been waiting for. So I challenge you. Isn't it time to stop waiting for immediate rewards and start acting with purpose? If this message spoke to you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll keep learning lessons that can transform the way you see the world, and maybe even rewrite the path of your own life.